Tonight, Broken Hill Lifeline concerned about problem gambling as clubs reopen. And a diver's close call with a great white near Port Lincoln prompts renewed warnings about sharks.
From our 7 Spencer Golf Studios, your nightly news with John Hunt begins now.
Good evening. For many, the reopening of clubs in Broken Hill has been long awaited, but for some, it's a challenging time. Those suffering from problem gambling once again have access to pokie machines, raising concerns from the local Lifeline branch.
The doors are open and the city's clubs are back in business. While it is a good thing for the local economy, for those battling with gambling addiction, it's a big adjustment.
10 weeks of extra money in their pocket, and we certainly want everybody to enjoy the facilities, and we don't want any harm in our club either.
For the past 3 months, the city's pokie venues have been closed due to coronavirus. Mr. Pearce saying the enforced shutdown has seen a number of his clients get on top of their addiction.
A lot of the clients that I have had and previously had and that have come on just before COVID shutdown, I think it's a wake-up call for them that there's other things out there in life.
But for some, with machines unavailable, the temptation to bet online has been too much.
Online gambling had increased substantially. Like in the first 3 or 4 weeks, it was about 5%. In the last report that I had from Sydney University, we're looking at about 165% increase in online gambling.
Lifeline is partnering with the local clubs to decrease problem gambling across the city. Greg saying a number of his clients have already been in contact. Club owners also wanting to help.
None of us want to see people harmed in any of our clubs and/or pubs. So the partnership we had with Greg is beneficial to both the clubs, the industry, and anybody that has that problem.
If you or someone you know needs help, contact Lifeline on 1311 14. Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Golf News.
9 motorists have been accused of drug driving across the Lower Eyre Peninsula in the past week. A 48-year-old male was stopped just before 11 on Tuesday morning. He allegedly returned a positive reading for methamphetamine and cannabis. Police also finding a child in the back seat at the time. 3 hours later, patrols pulled over the same car. A 36-year-old motorist was accused of driving with cannabis in her system. The results have been sent for forensic testing. 2 Wyler men were arrested last night after police allegedly found a loaded firearm during a random traffic stop. Police stopped a 23-year-old Wyler Stuart man and a 34-year-old Wyler Norrie man for a random breath test. A .22 caliber rifle and ammunition were allegedly found in a backpack on the rear seat.
The driver and passenger were both charged with aggravated possession of a prescribed firearm and possession of ammunition without a licence.
The arrest also led police to allegedly find cannabis at a Wyler Stuart address. Both men were refused bail and will appear in court at a later date. Construction on GFG's Solar Farm near Wyler is weeks away from starting. The $350 million project described as a much-needed job boost for the region as COVID-19 impacts the economy.
A ray of sunshine for GFG Solar Farm, undertaking the final steps before construction begins. They've partnered with Electranet in order to obtain the final licences to be able to connect to the grid.
Once we have that, that's really the only lasting hurdle for us to achieve financial close. We've got all of our financing sorted, all of our construction planning well and truly underway.
The solar farm is set to be the largest in Australia, providing locals a job boost that could not have come at a better time.
And at its peak, it'll deliver something like 750 jobs, which we aim to look at locally first, and then for wider South Australia.
Solar Farm playing the first step in providing reliable clean energy in line with GFG's Green Steel vision. The team also working with scientists to preserve saltbush regeneration to reduce dust level and optimise use of the solar panels.
We'll be the first solar farm to utilise a robotic cleaning mechanism which uses compressed air and brushes as opposed to requiring water.
As well as minimising environmental impacts of the site, GFG have already put out tender packages for local jobs, encouraging residents to get online and register. Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Experts are warning swimmers across the Eyre Peninsula to be vigilant after an abalone diver's terrifying encounter with a great white shark. The experienced diver using a piece of metal to fight off the apex predator.
It's every diver's worst nightmare, ending up face to face with a 4-metre great white shark.
When I looked to my left and moved the parachute in, he was right there, like an arm's length away, just eyeballing me.
Daryl Carrison has been diving for abalone for more than 3 decades, but it was last month's close encounter at Scale Bay that left him shaking.
It's a bit of a surreal feeling because, you know, if you do something stupid, it's going to have a crack at you of some description.
The abalone diver was swimming in the shallows 40 feet from his cage when he saw the predator. A quick mercy dash to his steel box revealed his shark shield wasn't working.
It had been bumped on during the day or the day before, and it was completely flat.
Armed with a steel rod he found on the ocean floor, Daryl was ready for a fight, hitting the great white shark's tail.
The whole time it was swimming around me, it had its mouth open. After I hit it, its mouth opened right up.
After 30 terrifying minutes, Daryl rushed back on the boat. Experts say it's a common time of the year for shark sightings.
Right now, the fur seals that were born over the summer period are just starting to get into the water and learn how to swim. But we are finding a lot more white sharks in inner, shallower coastal waters.
He says most swimmers are surrounded by the predators but don't see them.
The closer the normal encounter is a little bit more obvious, but they're there all the time.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
The June long weekend is just around the corner, and national parks around South Australia are looking like a popular destination. 86 out of 153 campgrounds are fully booked for the 3-day weekend, with many more close to capacity. More than 1,100 bookings have been made within the first 2 days of campground reopening. It comes as South Australians are encouraged to get back into the regions and support local tourism. Still to come tonight, a Port Lincoln Health Group secures vital new staff, and an online swimming safety program now available for local parents. Welcome back. Health Service Mentally Fit EP has recruited new workers following a spike in mental health cases across the region. The team thinking outside the box to keep the community supported during the COVID anxiety.
2 fresh new faces walking down the corridor at Port Lincoln's local youth service, already beaming with new ideas and projects to help future-proof mental health across Eyre Peninsula.
There's a lot planned in the works, but COVID will tell whether or not it goes ahead.
Mentally Fit EP's coordinator, Lane Montgomery, passing the baton to new recruit Joanna Page, looking at new ways to help keep people connected during social distancing.
Different ways to connect with people, so doing Zoom catch-ups, we're moving a course online.
Since the start of January, the support service says it's been run off its feet. The COVID anxiety and strict lockdowns putting pressure on the community's mental well-being.
It has been a really tough time globally. Here on the Eyre Peninsula, I think it's been extremely difficult. We know that sports are one of the things that really truly connect us, and with the inability to play sports, we've had that lack of connection.
More than $500 million has been injected into mental health support this year. West Coast Community Support still waiting for some to trickle down.
We know we've now had a couple of years of drought, and then on top of that, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we know that it'll be really needed in our region.
The support service adapting to the pandemic and trying to keep the community connected with online Friday Zoom meetings, comedy road trips and film projects.
We're going to implement some really cool things to future-proof Mentally Fit EP.
Nathan Regter, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
With the temperatures plummeting, Kids Alive are aiming to continue to spread their message of water safety. The Drowning Prevention Programme launching virtual couch concerts to keep families engaged during winter.
Taking the message into everyone's home.
We're going online couch concert Yeah, it's so much fun.
Safety advocate and former swim coach Laurie Lawrence now delivering virtual events on the Kids Alive Facebook page in the month of June.
Because we've been unable to travel anywhere in Australia, my daughter actually thought, Dad, let's do a series of couch concerts that have puppets, that have book readings, that have song, dance, rhythm, craft.
Aiming to get as many young children up dancing, while also reinforcing vital safety messages.
Where kids learn about water safety in a fun way. Because being an old school teacher, I know the importance of song, dance, rhythm, colour, rhyme.
With pools closed and cooler weather setting in, local water lovers are being urged not to get complacent.
You should be aware of creeks and dams and make sure that you stay within your depth. I mean, definitely don't go into dams. You can't. They're unknown waters. You don't know how deep they are, so you need to be careful.
Ms Hogg says the dangers for children don't go away during winter.
In the winter months, because even though it's cold, children don't necessarily stay away from water when it's cold. They don't realise that.
Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Golf News.
A Wyler artist is using the coronavirus pandemic to get creative, organising a lantern-making program. The project, inspired by the city's recent lantern competition, will run during the school holidays for children of all ages.
A fun pop-up project aimed at bringing some extra life into Wyler's main strip. This artist coming up with creative ideas to get locals out of the house and exploring new features throughout the town.
I thought it would be really great to just light up the whole main street and get the community involved and just bring some light and colour.
Carclu, major supporters in the project, providing $2,500 worth of funding through their quick response grant.
We put out over $40,000 and Michael was one of the successful ones. And I'm personally really pleased to see a regional artist get up.
Michael will be making 12 large lanterns with the process on display at the Old Civic Library.
I'll be set up in a studio space down here on the main street and people will be able to come in and help out and watch.
Online and in-person workshops will also be running throughout the July school holidays. It's a busy time for Michael. She's also currently writing a play.
Working on a writing project that was funded by the Department of Premier and Cabinet. So I'm talking to young people about their responses to the global pandemic and how that's affected them.
Sophia Contagonis, 7 Spencer Golf News.
Stay with us. Broken Hill's tennis season to recommence in a matter of weeks. And Port Augusta residents encouraged to reduce waste. Broken Hill's tennis players will soon be back playing real matches after the local association agreed to resume competitive matches last night. A winter competition has been devised, with the first round to commence next week.
It's game on at the Broken Hill tennis courts.
That'll be the winter comp, which is a mixed comp, and we'll play that for 10 weeks, which will finish up on August 12.
Competitive tennis games will return next Wednesday after the local association met last night. Tennis New South Wales supporting the decision.
They were very excited about that. They said, great stuff, go for it.
Tennis was being played in the Silver City during the pandemic, but only socially and with restrictions in place. Singles matches the only option until 2 weeks ago.
Doubles obviously was halted, so some of the older guys didn't like that because they had to play singles and their legs aren't as good as they used to be, but they're happy now that doubles is back in.
Nominations are now open for the Wednesday winter comp. One COVID measure will remain in place with shaking hands banned.
Tennis is a sport where you're not standing next to one another, you've got your distancing.
On the coaching side of things, the Outback Tennis Academy has seen plenty of juniors lining up to improve. For the past 2 months, the young recruits have been receiving one-on-one sessions.
They're hitting a lot more balls and we've noticed their skill level has accelerated and some of them are ready for competition play.
Russell saying it's been great for the kids to be back on the court.
Tennis is just our vehicle. We're all about building the child to become an adult, and this has been a very crucial part in the last few months.
Patrick Reinke, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
To celebrate the arrival of Cuttlefish into Whyalla, the city now has a new tourism mascot, the colourful Cuttlefish, already receiving friendly cuddles and attention. Whyalla's tourism sector calling on locals to help come up with its name.
Our Cuttlefish mascot, it looks amazing. So made by a local artist in Port Lincoln, and we don't have a name. So we're really excited to kind of go, hey, if you've got any ideas, let us know. We want you to name our Cuttlefish.
More than 120 people have already registered a name suggestion on the group's Facebook page. Entries will close next week. A successful grant will see the rollout of bin caddies in homes and businesses across Port Augusta, helping reduce the overflow of general waste bins. Locals are encouraged to express their interest in receiving a caddy for free.
It's an initiative that could save you space in your red bins.
Basically, it will just take all your kitchen food scraps from the kitchen, put it into a compostable bag, which can then go in the green bin.
The item secured as part of a grant, with the devices to be passed on at no cost to locals.
And we were successful enough to receive $120,000 over 5 years to roll this out. So that includes buying the kitchen caddies and obviously replacement bags for the next 5 years.
Port Augusta, one of the first councils in the region to take part.
We're one of the first regional councils to actually roll this caddy out and then promote, I guess, the recycling of food waste. So then we can then obviously use that in the community as well, obviously in gardens.
The move comes after an audit shows residents were chucking away more than necessary.
Identified that there was 3 kilos per red bin on average a week going to landfill, which was just food waste. So we've basically diverting all of that into our green bins, which then we'll send off to a third party and they can then turn that into a good compost for the garden.
They say many items we generally throw away can actually be put into our green bins.
Bones, seafood, oysters. You can even put egg cartons and pizza boxes. Tissues can go in.
Those interested can find out more information online. Laura Milovanovic, 7 Spencer Gulf News.
Stay with us after the break. We check the day's finance news and we'll take a look at the latest weather forecast. Hello again. Time for a look at finance now. It was a quiet day after the Reserve Bank kept interest rates on hold. Bendigo Bank had a strong day, up 4%. Adelaide Brighton was up 3%. Iron Road was also in the green, while Santos and CSL had minor rises. Westpac, however, was down. And the All Ords and ASX 200 were both up by less than 0.5%. Time for a look at the weather now, and it was a mostly dry and sunny day across the region. Whyalla was one of the warmer places, reaching 18 degrees. Broken Hill a little cooler at 14 degrees. Port Pirie reached 16. Elsewhere, Port Augusta and Coober Pedy had tops of 17 degrees. Woodner reached just 15. Taking a look at the satellite now, and patchy low cloud in the south of South Australia beneath a building ridge of high pressure is not producing any significant rain. Meanwhile, a high is keeping elsewhere clear. Looking ahead to tomorrow's forecast, the region can expect south to southeast winds 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be between 1 and 1.5 metres, with the swell below a metre in most parts. It'll be a cloudy day in most parts of southern and western Eyre Peninsula tomorrow. Port Lincoln will reach a top of 17 degrees. Cleve will be 16 with a cloudy day forecast. And in Woodner it'll be similar conditions, with the town reaching a top of 18. A little sunnier as we head north. Whyalla will be fine and mostly sunny, reaching a top of 17 degrees. Port Augusta will be partly cloudy and 18. And Cadina can expect a maximum of 17 degrees with partly cloudy conditions. Heading east now, Port Pirie will be partly cloudy and 17 tomorrow. Clare reaching just 14 degrees. And Broken Hill will be cloudy and 15. Having a look ahead to Thursday now, it'll be partly cloudy across most parts of the region. Whyalla, Port Lincoln, Port Pirie and Cadina all reaching 16. Woodner reaching 17 degrees. Port Augusta and Coober Pedy 18. And Broken Hill will reach a top of 14. Mostly sunny on Friday ahead of the long weekend. Cooper Pedy, Port Augusta, Broken Hill and Woodness sunny in 18. Whyalla and Port Perry sunny in 17. Port Lincoln partly cloudy with a top of 16. And finally to Saturday, dry in the north, a shower or two in the south. 16 in showers in Port Lincoln. Whyalla and Port Perry partly cloudy in 16. Woodner and Port Augusta reaching tops of 17. Broken Hill sunny and 17 degrees. And Cooper Pedy will be a little warmer, reaching 19 degrees. And that's the local news this Tuesday evening. Thanks for joining us. I'll have updates later, and we'll be back tomorrow at 7 p.m. Until then, on behalf of the entire news team, have a great evening. Good night.